Hi, this is Jaya. Now we shall see the summary of Macbeth by William Shakespeare. Come, let's go to the summary. Macbeth is one of the best plays of Shakespeare, and even today his character is analyzed, and Lady Macbeth's character is one of the towering characters among Shakespeare's women characters. Now we shall go into the story of Macbeth. Actually, the story takes place in Scotland, and the King of Scotland is Duncan. And when the play opens, Duncan is having a war with the King of Norway, and Duncan is learning about the happenings of the war in his palace, and everyone praises Macbeth's bravery in the battlefield. And what happened is, as the war is taking place, the Thane of Cawdor, he in between the war he goes and supports the King of Norway, and he starts attacking the soldiers of Scotland. And this is really shocking to Duncan when he hears this news, because these are all the people whom he trusted. But Macbeth defeats him and he arrests him. So Duncan decides to give off that Thane of Cawdor turtle itself to Macbeth, because he was so happy that Macbeth has fought so bravely, and not only that, he has restored his honor and he has captured the traitor. Now Macbeth and another Thane, who's Banquo, they return and they are victorious, they are very happy and they are rejoicing their victory, and they are coming back. And when they come back, they meet the three witches. In fact, the play opens with the three witches only. And it is these three witches who tells us all this about what is happening in the battlefield, and they want to have some nice time. So they are waiting. They are saying Macbeth will be coming here. So we are going to start our game with him. So whatever we saw all this so far is revealed by the witches only. And now they are waiting for Macbeth, and naturally Macbeth and Banquo, they come there. And when they come, the witches predict that Macbeth will be the Thane of Cawdor. Now, Macbeth does not know this so far. And then another witch says, you will be the King of Scotland. And Macbeth is the Thane of Cawdor itself is something which he is not expecting. And King of Scotland means it's something out of the way. And the third witch, she says, but Banquo will be the father of all the future kings of Scotland. Now this, and they disappear. Now Macbeth and Banquo, they're laughing at each other. Like, suppose in case Macbeth is going to be the King of Scotland, naturally his children only will be the next heirs to the throne. How can the children of Banquo be the heirs to the throne? So this itself is so very stupid. So they just rubbish it away and they keep walking. And as they are progressing, they meet the noblemen Rose and Anguish, and they come and tell that Macbeth's new title is Thane of Cawdor, and this is really moving Macbeth, because he heard the witches say this, but he never expected that to be a real. And then he starts thinking, if they had called me the Thane of Cawdor, and if I made the Thane of Cawdor, then even they call me the King of Scotland. So he thinks that if this is going to become true, even that is going to become true. And they go there, and he keeps it in his mind itself. And they meet Duncan, and Duncan is so very happy with the battle, the result, the victory, and particularly Macbeth's bravery in the battle. And he says that he is going to honor Macbeth by visiting his castle. So Macbeth says, okay, I will go early and will make the arrangements to welcome you. And he also writes a letter to Lady Macbeth, and Lady Macbeth receives the letter, and in that Macbeth informs her about the witches and what they predicted and how this became true. And when Macbeth arrives to his palace, Lady Macbeth welcomes him as the King of Scotland, and she says, I have already have a plan in my mind. But Macbeth says, no, it was just a moment of temptation. But coming to think about the evil consequences, I don't think it's a very good idea. So just drop it. I don't know why I thought about it. The witches said this, but I don't know why I'm going to keep that in my mind. And he says, no, I'm not for it. But Lady Macbeth makes fun of him, saying that she will not even consider him as a man if he does not kill Duncan, and she says you have to prove yourself, and she says if I were a man I would have done it, and she says this is something which is destined to happen. And then after she tells her plan on how she has planned to kill Duncan, and listening to it Macbeth accepts. She says that she will make the bodyguards of Duncan sleep. That is, she will mix something in their drinks which they are having in the party, so that they will go into deep sleep, that they are not aware of what is going to happen around them. And then Macbeth should go and he should kill the king, and they should leave the evidence on the bodyguards, so that everyone will think that the bodyguards only killed Duncan after drinking, and so the blame will go on the bodyguards and no one will doubt them. And in the next act we find that Macbeth is ready, Duncan comes there, and Macbeth does not have the face to see Duncan, because he is always looked at Duncan as a father figure, and so Lady Macbeth only goes and welcomes him, and the party goes on, and Duncan is sent to the room. And at night Lady Macbeth says this is the correct time, everyone is asleep, and I have given the sleeping dose to the guards, they are also deep sleep, you can go. And Macbeth sees a bloody dagger, the dagger is a sword which they use for fight, floating before him, and that leads him to Duncan's room. And Lady Macbeth gives him the signal that it is a correct time to kill him by ringing the bell, and then he sets out, he completes his murderous plan, and Lady Macbeth is anxiously waiting for Macbeth. And after Macbeth kills Duncan, he is in a daze, and he forgets to place the dagger which he carried to kill Duncan, and with which he killed Duncan actually near the bodyguards. He carries it and comes back to his room, and Lady Macbeth makes fun of him. She says, how can you be so weak-minded? And she herself goes and places the daggers on the bodyguards herself. And when she has left, Macbeth hears a voice saying that he shall sleep no more. And then in a few hours it's early sunrise, and the Thanes of Macduff and Lennox, the Thanes Macduff and Lennox, they arrive there, and Lady Macbeth and Macbeth, they pretend as though they are asleep, and only at that time they are getting up, and Macduff goes to wake up King Duncan, and when he goes there he finds Duncan's dead body, and hearing his voice, Macbeth runs into the room, and he immediately kills the two bodyguards, and he says that seeing Duncan's dead body and seeing the daggers with bloodshed near the bodyguards, he could not control his anger, and so he killed him. And as the news of Duncan's death soon spreads, Duncan's sons Malcolm and Donald Bain, they just run away from there fearing their life. Malcolm goes to England, and Donald Bain, he goes off to Ireland. So there is no one to be crowned as the king, and as the witches predicted, Macbeth is crowned the next king of Scotland. Now what happens is, the third witch has said that Banquo's children only will become the kings, that is, Banquo will father kings. So Macbeth thinks about it. If these two wishes of the witches is going to become true, then naturally the third wish also will become true. So he hires two murderers to kill Banquo and also his son Fleance, because there are chances that Fleance will become the future king. And on the way, these murderers are joined by a third person, and all the three, they wait for Banquo when he is going to a place with his son, and they kill Banquo, but his son Fleance, he escapes. And here Macbeth arranges for a party, and when he goes there and happily goes to the place where the feast is happening, he sees Banquo's ghost in one of the seats, and seeing that, he goes into terror and he starts shouting and blabbering, and Lady Macbeth tries to cover up by saying that sometimes he gets into such fits, but everyone is surprised, and they start talking about his behavior, and they even question about Macbeth's sanity. But Lady Macbeth, she says, okay, you just have your feast, and she pulls off Macbeth, and she somehow covers up that thing. And actually Macbeth does not even reveal to Lady Macbeth about his plan to kill Banquo, because this is something which he himself has devised. And then Macbeth decides that it is better he visits the witches again, so he goes there. At the same time, Macduff, doubting what is happening here, he decides to go and meet Malcolm in England, and he also decides because he comes to know about Banquo's death and he suspects that it is not natural, and he has a doubt on Macbeth. So he decides that he has to join with Malcolm and march on Scotland and relieve Scotland from Macbeth. Now when Macbeth goes there, he meets the three witches again, and this time they show him through apparitions. And the first one warns him against Macduff. It says, be careful about Macduff. And the second tells him that he need not fear because no man born of women can harm his life. And the third one says that he will fall, that is, he will be defeated only when Birnam Wood comes to Dunsanian Castle. Now, Birnam Wood is something, it's a forest down the hill, and the Dunsanian Castle is on top of the mountain, it's on the top of the hill. So, no one can imagine a forest coming on top of a hill. And then Macbeth asks if their prophecy about Banquo will come true, and they show him the procession of 8 kings. And Macbeth is shocked because all the 8 kings look like Banquo. And when he's about to ask something more, the witches disappear. By now, what happens is, Macbeth, on hearing the witches say that be careful with Macduff, he sends his soldier and asks them to kill everyone in the castle of Macduff. And so Macduff's wife and children are murdered by Macbeth. And here what happens is, Lady Macbeth keeps on receiving messages like this, one after another murder, and she also starts suffering from sleepwalking. And she says that she cannot wash her hands clean of blood stains, like she can see blood stains on her hands, and she is not able to get rid of them, and she keeps on washing her hand, and she gets mentally affected. At the same time, here the English army, led by Malcolm, Macduff and Seward, another general, it arrives to Scotland, and they announce that they are going to march against Scotland. And here Lady Macbeth becomes very serious and she just dies because of her mental illness. And Macbeth hears of her death, but he is more preoccupied with eliminating all his enemies that he has gone beyond the stage of grieving for Lady Macbeth. And here Malcolm instructs, as soon as they enter into the Birnam Wood, that each and every soldier must cut a branch of the Birnam Wood and hold it in front of them, so that the enemies will not be able to know the number of soldiers in the army. So Macbeth he has made all his soldiers stand around the castle for guard. And one of Macbeth's servants, he sees down and is shocked because these soldiers, they are holding a branch of the trees in front of them, and they are marching up the hill, and it is looking as though the whole Birnam Wood is climbing up the hill. And so he goes and announces this, and Macbeth is really shocked. And then even then he thinks, okay, even if this is going to happen, no man who is born of woman can harm me, so no one can do any harm to him. So he starts fighting, and in the fight Macbeth kills young Seward, the son of General Seward. And at that time Macduff comes and he challenges Macbeth. And as they are fighting, Macbeth says that you cannot harm me, I am going to kill you because no man born of woman can kill me. At that time Macduff reveals that he was not born of a woman, but he was untimely ripped off from his mother's womb. That is, he was not born naturally, but he had to be cut from his mother's womb and had to be taken out. Now Macbeth is stunned and understands that the third wishes of the witches is also going to come true, and Macduff kills Macbeth, and then Malcolm is pronounced the new king of Scotland, and the play ends here. It's one of the most popular plays of Shakespeare. I hope you've enjoyed this. Like the video, share with your friends, and if you've not subscribed my channel, please subscribe. Thank you.